Hey, folks, welcome in to sportsbookreview.com. This is your Major League Baseball show for Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. A large baseball card, but yesterday, sitting there in the Windy City, Jason, I'm waiting up late. Nothing's happening. The bottom of the eighth, I think I'm finally going to steal this game and get that team total to at least 4. A rocket off the top of the wall by Tim Anderson in the leadoff spot, and I say, you know what? I got second and third out here. I'm going to be okay because you know why? Grandal's going to come up, Abreu's going to come up. Somebody's going to put the ball in play, and it just wasn't meant to be. 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position and have over 10 men left on base. And looking from the flip side on your end with the Minnesota Twins, Jason, so many opportunities, but so many opportunities lost. But that's baseball, as they say.
Yeah, and we said this was going to happen, with Cease. That's what he's been doing. Literally what he's been doing, just literally stabbing people in the backs when they pick against him. It's just brutal, man. I don't know how he's been able to do this. He let up a double in the second with no outs, guy on second in the third inning, a guy on third in the fourth inning. Every single time their runners in scoring position, bases loaded at times. In the fifth, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to even explain it, but that's what Cease is doing. So I've learned my lesson. No more picking against Cease, not touching those games anymore, because Cease is another different animal out there.
It must be, man. Must be something in the air in September. Guys, if you're just tuning in, I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. This is the Major League Baseball show. 67,700 people have subscribed to the sportsbookreview.com network right here on YouTube. 13 thumbs up already. Welcome into the chat box. Late night, talk sports. Alex, Steven, who else there? Gabriel, rookie MVP, Jose. Welcome in. This is what we're going to do today. A huge card. We'll go over a couple games as usual. Try to spin around and hit as many possible games in about 30 to 35 minutes as we possibly can today. But if you guys missed out last night, live Monday Night Football show, everything is popping here at the network. So always check in if you haven't and say, you know what? Hey, the National Football League was on last week or the weekend. Time to get back into baseball. There's a link right below, SPRpicks.com/MLB. All Jason's writings are there. The videos are there, designed to make you a better Major League Baseball gambler. Jason, big card today. Let's get right into it. 901, 902 down in the Sunshine State. That's going to be Washington and Tampa Bay. Sanchez and Curtis, who looks to open for Yarborough for the Tampa Bay Marlins. How about that one? Tampa Bay Rays. 7 out of 10 tickets here coming in on Tampa Bay. Jason, open up hefty, minus 175, but now we see a little bit of it backtracking to that low 160s range. 9 across the board. When I see Anibal Sanchez, I want to fade Anibal Sanchez. I think you get a decent matchup here because even when you look at that overall Tampa Bay lineup, they're going to be able to throw a lot of lefties. But it's just saying, hey, look, if Anibal Sanchez goes 6 innings, 1 earned run, you tip your cap and move on. He's not that type of pitcher anymore. Used to be really crafty, but now he's just old and not crafty. I think Tampa Bay can get some runs here, but also sneaky side on the Washington end of it. They do hit left-handed pitching really well, which obviously Yarborough is going to come in after Curtis opens the game. I think we get some runs in this game. I could see maybe a team total over for Tampa Bay. And also, if I'm looking that way, scratch out a couple runs for the Nationals, maybe an over 9 as well, even though not a great hitting environment down in Tampa. Jason, what are you looking at here?
Yeah, so like you said, the Rays are a team that can definitely stack their lefties. This season, they were the first team in the modern era to have 9 lefties in a single lineup. So, we'll see their lineup, today. But yeah, they can definitely stack lefties up against Anibal Sanchez. And Sanchez lefties are hitting him 318, righties are hitting 393. So either way you go against Sanchez, you have some good numbers against him. He's allowed 9 home runs on the season. And like you said, the Rays, basically a bullpen game. Yarborough coming in, of course. I like the over 9 in this one if I had to choose. But for me, I think there's other games on the slate that I prefer. So staying away, but over 9 definitely seems like the play with the Nationals being able to hit lefties and the Rays being able to stack lefties against Sanchez, and Sanchez just not being the same pitcher that he used to be. So for me, I'd look at probably the Rays on their team total, even money line, but the money line is kind of high, so I wouldn't really recommend that. Over 9 would be another play as well.
Jovan Rosales, good underdog pick with the Orioles yesterday, Jason. And Tim Halder says, great call in Atlanta versus Baltimore over yesterday. Keep up the great work, guys. I was doing the Monday Night Football show, and I just kept looking over, and it was like, pinball in the second inning. I'm like, oh, my goodness. Now, also, if you were on the opposite side of that, which I didn't have any play directly in that game, but I'm saying, this is a pretty nice spot now for Atlanta just to rack up against some underling pitchers in the bullpen. But Atlanta just went absolutely dormant yesterday, so the Orioles carried that entire side. We'll get into that game in just a little bit later because I think there might be some runs coming your way again in that one. 903, 904 Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. It's going to be Musgrove and Lorenzen. Keep in mind, Lorenzen is a bullpen guy. He's going to be making his first start, I believe, in the last 2 years. Hasn't thrown more than don't think 45 or 50 pitches in a game. So looking more like a bullpen effort from Cincinnati. They open up as a minus 135 offshore at SBRodds.com. Now sitting in that 140s range, over under 9 across the board. When I take a look at Musgrove, if I'm willing to take Musgrove here, Jason, I want to take Musgrove as a home pitcher. On the road, a completely different story. At home on the season, through 52 batters at 320 weighted on base average, which is right around average. When he goes on the road through 44 batters, that jumps to a 421. And if we take a look at some of those xFIP numbers here, he has decent stats on the year. But again, we're taking a look at home, which is a pitcher's ballpark with Pittsburgh, and more of a hitter's ballpark at Great American. At home, he's got a 2.8 xFIP, which is sensational. How about on the road? 6.25. I think we get some runs in this one. Again, you're looking at that Pittsburgh lineup. It's one of those flea bag lineups, like, not really a lot to like. But if they're going to hit, this should be a day they should be able to hit. I like the over 9 in this game, Jason. That's the way I'm going with it. Any thoughts on this game as well?
Yeah, I'm with you here. It's tough to pick a winner in this game when you have Joe Musgrove or Michael Lorenzen on the mound. And don't forget, Lorenzen, he used to start, but he's coming out of the bullpen this season, tried to do some closing, couldn't really get that figured out. He just kind of been all over the place and really hasn't performed to the best of his ability like he used to. Now he's walking 6.1 batters per 9 innings. Musgrove walking 5.4 batters per 9 innings. So, yeah, both these guys not being able to find the strike zone. Both these guys can definitely get hit hard in this game. Of course, the Reds have the better offense than the Pirates, but looking at the stats, it's just there's probably value for the Pittsburgh Pirates here with Musgrove on the mound. You don't really expect Lorenzen to go deep in this game because, again, this will be his first start of the season. So you're looking at potentially seeing Musgrove maybe go 5 innings, Lorenzen maybe going 3 to 4 innings at most. There's probably value for the Pirates. So I would say Pirates at plus 128 is a value play. Of course, you said how he's been pretty bad on the road. Batters are now hitting 314 on the road this season, and righties are hitting 333 on the season. So Musgrove has been far from excellent, but Lorenzen hasn't been either. So like you said, over definitely the play. But if you're looking for an underdog play, the Pirates have some potential here against Lorenzen for sure.
Yeah, I think they can get some. I think it's decent weather out there in Cincinnati today. I think I'm getting 2 pitching matchups where, Pittsburgh, again, you have to pick your shots on where they're going to be able to be an effective at bat. And I think tonight is going to be one of those effective at batting nights there for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Take a look here in the chat box. C. James said the Monday Night Football show was fun last night. Well, there's a guy doing a show that's technically sitting right to the right of me here on the TV screen that will be making an appearance next Monday Night Football. So we could chop it up with the NFL, with Major League Baseball, have a lot of fun. It's going to be a Monday night party here on the networks. Join us every Monday night live for the games with Jason. We'll be in the house for a Monday Night Football next week. Can't wait for that. How about this one today? Well, maybe a week and a half ago, I was really excited for this game as a Phillies fan. New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies, Rick Porcello versus Jake Arrieta. The Phillies just look like a dead team walking. And I don't know if it's just the Marlins where I don't know, 9 out of 10, it seems like the Marlins just take down the Phillies at will. Guys you never heard of rake the Phillies, and just random Dominican Latino pitchers come in and just sit the Phillies down in order. So you have the $2 lineup versus the $200 million lineup, and the $2 lineup seems to be beating the Phillies at will. Now take a look at this game today. Porcello's on the mound. We know he hasn't been that great, but will we get Rhys Hoskins in the lineup tonight? Is JT Realmuto, who's day-to-day, even going to make an appearance? 1 run, 2 runs down there in Florida. That's not going to do it, because the profile of this game, and I'll say it again, when you look at the Mets lineup, some nights where they can stack those lefties that are having really good seasons against Jake Arrieta, that's the way I lean in this one. I like the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm going to cheer the Philadelphia Phillies on, but if I can't get good starts outside of Aaron Nola and, Zach Wheeler, who pulled up his pants and tore his, thumb off basically, and he can't pitch, I can't trust the Phillies. That bullpen that looked like it was going to bounce back by getting some added guys from, the New York Yankees and the Red Sox, it just isn't adding up. Give me the team total Mets here over 4.5. I think the Mets get 5 tonight. I just don't think the Phillies have it in them. Normally that would say, Jason, hey, you know what? Small ballpark Phillies should be able to hit Porcello as well. They're just a dead team walking at the plate. I don't trust the Phillies. I'm going to remove them from the equation. I'm going Mets team total here, Jason. What are you looking at tonight in this game?
I think it's hilarious that you're on the Mets. And if I had a lean, I'd be on the Phillies. I think it's hilarious. Of course, if you guys don't know, Donnie's a Phillies fan. I'm a Mets fan. And here we are. We're being biased, but then we're turning it around and saying our team stinks. We're going with the other team. So I think it's hilarious. But for me, I think the Phillies at plus 110 as home underdogs is a safer play in this one. Of course, both Porcello and Arrieta are far beyond their solid performances. They're done. They're not going to be back. Their prime is over, and that's that. But Porcello, this is funny though. He has a 2.88 FIP and a 6.07 ERA. But every time I watch him, I'm telling you, he's not good at all. His BABIP is 0.390. He's only leaving on base 56% of batters. So, like we talked about Cease yesterday, who's holding 88 percent of batters. Porcello, when guys get on base, he can't hold them on. He's brutal holding them on. Not getting ground balls at all either. His strikeouts are good. Walks are really good. And he's not allowing home runs, but he's still allowing hard-hit balls and allowing guys on base, where the Phillies, of course, their offense has been struggling, but they have some guys that can definitely do damage. And of course, the Mets can too, but they struggled versus Arrieta in his last start against the Mets. Only 2 runs in 7 innings pitched. I don't know. There's not much to say about that. Of course, he does have an 8.25 ERA at home this season in 3 starts, so that's not really saying much either. So, yeah, either way you look at it, both pitchers stink with the metrics, and I think the Phillies being at home as underdogs have a little bit more potential there. But again, I'm not touching this game. I like over 9.5, but there are so many different ways you can go and look at this game. It's tough. It's anywhere you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, there's superstars in both lineups here that you take a look at all the way through. And even though, yes, Jake Arrieta has had some success against the New York Mets. I mean, a couple of years ago, he's actually a Cy Young Award winner, but that's neither here nor there at this point. When you look at, Nimmo, Conforto, Smith, Cano, McNeil, and Jimenez going to come in that lineup as lefties. I just like the way those splits set up. And a little bit of bad news for Phillies fans is, you see some of these things come around Twitter. Yes, JT Realmuto might not play tonight, but it looks like, the Mets in the offseason will make a heavy play for JT Realmuto as a free agent. And would it be nice, you look at the lineup tonight, right? You say, boy, everything looks good except Robinson Chirino stinks as a catcher. How about replacing him with JT Realmuto next year? Then you're on your way for the Mets. So hopefully that doesn't happen for me as a Phillies fan. But for tonight, I like those first 7-8 batters in the lineup for the Mets. I think they get the job done, but it would be nice as well, Jason. As you know, it's nice for the other team to chase you down. So at 4-4 at the end of 9 innings, you could still pick that up. 3-3, you could still pick it up. So we'll see if that happens tonight here in the city of brotherly love. 9:19, 9:20. Yes, we have to go back to last night in Chicago. Dobnik and Dunning will be on the mound today. 60% of the tickets here coming in on the Twins. Opens up at 9.5 as a total. That backtracks to 9 even. Dunning opened up as a -113 favorite. Now sitting at 127. He's done a really good job this year. But when you take a look at the Minnesota lineup, they factor in, and they should be able to hit tonight. But Dunning's been great. Dobnik's, a little bit better to start the season as opposed to what he's been doing recently. And it's crazy because you think about last night, I thought it was going to be an over, even though you had 2 decent pitchers on the mound. You still have 2 on the mound tonight, but I am still leaning towards the under in this game, specifically in the first 5 innings. Under 9 for the game. I don't want to leave it up to the bullpen. I think I can sneak out of here with an under 5, -115 at 5 times. It'll take 6 runs to beat me over the first 5 innings. But betting these 2 teams with the lineups that should be in play tonight, any one inning can give a nice spurt for a 3-4 runner or a crooked number at any time. I want to try to escape over the first 5 innings to keep it under 5. What are you leaning towards in this game here, Jason?
Yeah, like you said, Dunning has been phenomenal in 4 starts in his rookie season, 1-0, 2.7 ERA, 2.78 FIP. So he's basically as advertised with his ERA. Everything is pretty normal with Dunning. And the White Sox have now won every game that Dunning has pitched in this season. The lefties are still hitting 273 against. The righties are definitely struggling. So, it's going to be tough here against with the righties for the Twins. But, lefties, they do have some solid hitting against Dunning. That's where he's kind of struggled on the season. But, again, he's getting plenty of swinging strikes and getting the strikeouts. Ground balls are pretty low and are pretty high, and he's also limiting hard contact. So Dunning's done everything really well in his first 4 starts of the season. Now you go to Dobnak, and his last start was pretty actually bad. He actually struggled in his last start versus the Cardinals, where he did allow 5 earned runs in 2 hits and 2 walks. So you're looking at that, you're saying, all right, well, he allowed 5 earned runs, just allowing 2 hits and 2 walks. So that's clearly a little bit of unluckiness right there, with that. I think Dobnik will be fine. I think he'll be able to get back on track. So for me, I agreed under 9 in this game. Lefties are now hitting 316 against Dobnak, so that's the one thing where he struggled. But the White Sox, mainly right-handed batters, which really shouldn't affect too much there. So I like under 9 in this one as well. I do think the White Sox have the edge here at -129 on the money line. But again, like you said, under in the first 5 or in the full game, I definitely think it's a play in this one.
No, I would agree with you in that instance. Let's double back here on one of these games. 9:07, 9:08, Atlanta and Baltimore. Inoa's going to be on the mound versus Eshelman. Eshelman used to be a Philadelphia Philly. He's not that good. You look at the ERA, but you look at the advanced metrics, sort of a soft tosser. And you see a game last night where Atlanta really struggled, only putting up, I believe, one single run. You figure they would bounce back tonight. This line opened up at 10.5, snuck back to 10, but is now back to 10.5. A heavy favorite, which again, minus 174. We're not talking about, Soroka coming in here and pitching against Eshelman. It's Inoa, so we'll see how long he goes, but he's really struggled as well. Those Baltimore bats came alive at home again yesterday. I can't look towards the under because I think both of these teams have a legitimate shot to hit their team totals. But again, getting scared off by paying, 5.5 for a team total, which means you need that 6. Should Atlanta be able to get the 6? I believe they do get the 6+ runs. And I also think the Baltimore Orioles can put up a fight as well. I like the over in this game just because the pitching profiles of both sides really don't match up. You have two teams theoretically that should be able to rake both of these pitchers. I'll leave that up in the air. I don't see any reason why it can't go over, even though it's going to have to hit 11 to get that total. I like the over. What are you looking at here, Jason?
Yeah, so earlier today I got over 10, and I still play over 10.5 if it's there. Of course, I'd prefer 10 because you get the push at 10, but if you see 10.5, that's what you want to do. That's completely fine. Like you said, two terrible pitchers on the mound. Eshelman has a high Sierra, low strikeout rate, low swinging strike rate, low ground ball rate. So, he's not getting strikeouts, which means balls are coming in play. He's not getting ground balls, which means balls are in play in the air. And he's allowing some hard contact, which means balls are in play and hard, line drives over the fence and all that kind of stuff. And not just this year, but like in past years as well. So this year he's held opponents to 213 batting average, but he's now walked 8 and struck out just 11 while allowing 5 home runs in 25 innings pitched. Lefties are hitting 237, righties are hitting 196, but he's only started in 3 games. So it's a small sample size, and that number should definitely increase, especially against the Braves, who obviously struggled last night, but throughout the last couple of weeks, their offense has been one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league. Now you go to the Orioles, their offense has been really bad the last couple of weeks, and then they go in and they hit 14 runs, and now they're going up against Husker Noah, and this is the guy with a high Sierra as well, a low strikeout rate, high walk rate, getting a solid ground ball rate, but he's also allowing plenty of hard contact as well. And the Orioles, obviously, their offense starting to really kind of figure it out. And I don't know if he'll really be able to pass 3 innings, Noah. So I don't know if he'll be able to even go past 3 innings. And we know that bullpen has been up and down throughout the entire season. Lefties are now hitting 304. Righties are hitting 265 against Noah. But he has more walks and strikeouts on the season. That is really, really bad. So when you're looking at this, I like the over 10 in this matchup at minus 110. I think both offenses can definitely get the job done. We've seen this time and time again where the Braves, their offense has done really well, but their pitching has done really bad. Let's not forget all of their pitchers. You have Soroka, you have Fried, you have Folty. They're not pitching anymore. You have 2 guys like Soroka and Fried on the injured list. You have Folty, just didn't get the job done. Newcomb started there, didn't get the job done either. Their pitching staff is really bad for the Braves, so a lot of the Braves games will probably go over as we finish off the regular season. Of course, the number's going to get a little bit higher now, but even 10 in this matchup doesn't seem that high when you can get a 5-5 game and an automatic win in this game.
Yeah, reaching down for the Atlanta Braves. I believe tomorrow I saw the anticipated starter is going to be Cole Hamels coming back. So my old man NL MVP, or should I say World Series MVP from 2008. Not 2018, 2008 will be on the mound for the Braves tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. But yes, they are reaching for pitching. But the one thing they can do, they can hit their way out of a paper bag. So we'll see if that continues for the rest of the season. One game I put out an actual video today on, and minutes after my video posted, I saw that Kansas City was pitcher Danny Duffy was not going to make a start due to disciplinary issues. Now, the interesting thing when you try to read into it, I even retweeted before we went on the show, was Danny Duffy seemed to got into an auto accident, was looking for a ride on the side of the road, missed the team flight, and they suspend him for discipline. Now, usually when you get into a fender bender or a crash, the team's like, hey, it's okay. We'll fly you in. We'll got a jet for you. We'll make it happen. But this seems a little bit more to meets the eye, because usually if you crash your car, you don't get suspended from the team, or you're not going to start because you crashed your car. So we'll see what comes up. But Boyd's going to be on the mound, the lefty. I didn't see a star that's going to come in for Kansas City. So I don't know exactly which way we'd go in this game. Opened up as a pick 'em, stayed roughly a pick 'em, 9s across the board. look, there's more ways you can look at it. It looks like an over game to me. If Danny Duffy was pitching, I actually put it out where I thought Detroit would be able to get 4 or more runs in this game. And you could probably make the same case for Boyd, the lefty on the mound, where they're going to stack righties and go up against him. It was a nice profile for an over with 2 really bad baseball teams and 2 iffy bullpens, but that's not going to be the case now. What were your thoughts in this game, or which way might you still be leaning if you had a play or a team total in this game, Jason?
Yeah, I have an official play. I have to make sure that the play is still good. It should be still good. I'm going Royals over 4 on the team total at -106. So again, it's over 4 at -106. Of course, if it's over 4.5, I agree with it. Of course, I'd rather you get the 4, but if you can't get it, of course, go for the 4.5. But yeah, they're going up against Matthew Boyd, who's 1-6 on the season in 9 games started, a 7.63 ERA, 6.11 FIP, and this is the guy that 336 against righties this season. And like you said, those righties there's a ton of righties on the Royals in their lineup, and they might be able to stack the entire team as the righties. Might be one lefty in that lineup. So you're getting a ton of righties for the Royals with a guy like Boyd, 336 average against righties this season. He's also allowed 12 home runs to righties on the right side and 1 more on the left side. So 12 home runs to righties, 336 average. How did the Royals not be able to score 5 runs in this game? A 4 is a push, a 5 is a win. They're also on the road, so they get the automatic 9 innings here. Like you said, we don't know who the Royals pitcher will be now. I obviously had Duffy and did my analysis on Duffy, of course. So we don't really know too much about that. But, I can't really give a money line play now anymore. I had the Royals as pick-em favorites. Now, I don't know. I would still assume the Royals, whoever they're pitching, will be better than Boyd. Also, obviously think that the Royals will score a ton of runs. So I'd probably still go with the Royals, but I like the Royals on the over in the team total of just 4 at -106. But I'll have to make sure that the sportsbook didn't get right in my play, and I have to put it in again. I don't think that'll be the case, but let me just make sure after the show.
I actually think you'll get a better number on that, because if you take a look at Boyd and Duffy was roughly, let's just say, a pick-em type situation, Boyd's probably going to be the premier pitcher, if that makes sense tonight, because if you're going with one of the underlings for Kansas City or a bullpen game, when you're talking about getting that 4.5, you might now have an honest 4, because if we're taking a look at a pick-em now, and let's just even say Boyd goes to -120 with that 9, you'll get that 4 with some light juice out there, so you might actually caught a break by going up against it, because again, you're not taking Kansas City basically to win the game anymore. You just want Kansas City at bats up there, so if your number improves despite Kansas City getting beat anyway, who cares as long as you get your 5 runs in? So that might work to your advantage in this one. Let's keep moving down the list. Good pitching matchup here at Wrigley today. 921, 922 Cleveland and the Cubs. Carrasco and Darvish opened up around 145 offshore. Now sitting 155s. Even some New Jersey sports books here topping 160, over under at 8.5. The wind is slightly blowing out, but you got 2 pitchers that can really deal. Darvish probably the best overall pitcher numbers wise on the card today, and Carrasco certainly no slouch as well. You would think Darvish would be able to mow down this, hapless at times Cleveland lineup. So in that game, even though it's at Wrigley, even with the wind blowing out 5 times, listing an under 4.5 first 5 innings, -125, it's going to take 5 to beat me. I think the good times continue here for you. Darvish holds that offense down. Maybe a 3-1 worst case scenario at the end of 5 innings where the Cubs might be up. I'm going to sit on the under in the first 5, Jason. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I like that prediction a lot. When I was looking at the first 5 and looking at both these teams, the Cubs -0.5 in the first 5 with a +100. So you're getting Darvish in the first 5 innings at plus money, basically even money, +100 with Darvish on the mound against Carrasco. And yes, Carrasco's been a solid pitcher for the Indians. The last time he faced the Cubs, he actually allowed 3 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched the last time he faced them. Now, again, Carrasco's been a lot better since that start. And like you said, he's been really solid. Darvish has been a stud this season throughout the entire season. He did struggle a little bit in his last start, 3 earned runs in his last start to the Reds, and had 9 Ks and 3 walks. So he's still getting those strikeouts. The walks are a little bit high, but probably doesn't happen again because he's averaging 1.77 walks per 9 innings. So I don't expect him to walk too many batters in this game, especially against the Indians, who are a terrible offense and have been so bad throughout the entire season. I like the Cubs here at -0.5 in the first 5. At +100, I think that's there's too much value there for me to pass up. Of course, I like the under in the first 5 as well in this game. I just think the Cubs will score a couple runs in these first 5 innings. Darvish holds it down, get that win at +100. There's so much value there. How do I not take that?
No, yeah, it is what it is. Now, we're going to circle back all the way, Jason, and go through some of these games here. Boston and Miami. Houck versus Alcantara in this game opened up at minus 170. He's dipped down around to that minus 150, minus 160 range. The red-hot Marlins, as you can say, versus Tanner Houck is going to be on the mound. If you take a look at his AAA statistics from 2019, he's got a high xFIP, 5.71, but I don't really have all that much feel in this game because, again, I still look at that Marlins lineup and figure, what's going to take place? Are they going to get hot, or is it just only the Phillies that they seem to whack all the time? Now you have Boston coming into town, but Boston does bring some decent bats into this game. Over-under open up at 9. There's some 9.5s out there, but it's a heavy favorite for Miami. But Boston kind of that sneaky play where maybe the Marlins just get off that high of beating their NL East opponent, smacking them around. Now you got to face a team in the American League, not really challenging for too much, but they still bring something into the table. I got to say, I don't know much about the Houck kid, so it's not like we're just going to take the plus 140 with Boston. Maybe lean towards an over, because if the kid's only going to go 2 to 3 innings, you're going to have all that bullpen time to try to heat up against them for the Marlins bats. I'd slight lean toward an over 9, but I don't have an official play on this game.
Yeah, so this new kid for the Red Sox, he's a 24th overall pick in the draft for the Red Sox in 2017. Very high walks in AAA in 16 games. Only started 2 games at the AAA level, so he was mainly a reliever and started just 2 games at the AAA level. But like I'm sure all these guys are talking in the chat. When I bet against these guys that come in from wherever they come out of, from AAA, AA, always backfires and they pitch well. But I think over will hit Alcantara. He's allowed 4 earned runs in his last 2 starts and 12 innings pitched. Both games were interesting. He has a high Sierra. 7.20 ERA at home this season in 2 games with 310. Batting average, lefties are now hitting 261 with an OBP on base percentage of 370. So not really high on either one of these pitchers. Don't really trust either one of these pitchers. So like you said, over definitely seems like the play in this one. But of course, whenever I bet against these rookies coming in, it's always backfires. So I'm staying away from it this time. I have my other official plays. I'm not worrying about it.
909-910. We'll try to speed through some of these last handful of games here. Toronto and the New York Yankees. Taijuan Walker is going to be on the mound versus Deivi Garcia. 6 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Yankees. Heavy price. Garcia's looked good in his limited starts. Opened up at 166, but now we see that backtrack here at SBRodds.com in that mid-150s range. Over-under opened up at 9. Still sitting at 9 across the board. Taijuan's been pretty good this season. Garcia's been good. You're playing in a bandbox ballpark with the Yankees. Obviously, we know that ball can travel out. You're getting a healthier lineup for Toronto, but we're still not all the way back with that Yankees lineup yet. Gleyber Torres coming back, still waiting for the Twin Towers to get back into that lineup as well. It seems like it's a little bit too high of a price for me to delay 155 on the young kid in this situation. I think Toronto can hang around in this game. Do I want to take them? No. And also, do I want to lean on an under 9? I actually like the under 9, but since it's always at Yankee Stadium, that's always like, hey, here we go. It's 1-0 in the 3rd inning and a couple of those short porch fly balls to right field. Next thing you know, you got a 5 or 6 spot on the board. I don't have any official play in this game, but I do like the pitching matchup between these two to stay under. It's just I don't know if I can trust it in Yankee Stadium. What are you thinking here, Jason?
Yeah, look, I think the Yankees are starting to figure it out offensively, and now they're starting to bring some guys back, and Judge and Stanton should be back pretty soon. I think there's a couple other guys that have been absent as well, but yeah, I think the Yankees got the job done versus Walker. I think Walker's been really solid this season, but I'm not too high on him. Strikeout numbers are kind of low. Walk rate gets kind of high. He could allow a decent amount of home runs, especially at Yankee Stadium. He's leaving 85% of batters on base so far this season as well. And we know where that went last night with Cease. So I'm not making this an official play, but Walker. I think Walker's been a little bit lucky this season, and I'm not saying he won't be lucky again. In this game, but going to Yankee Stadium, I don't think it's really the best place for Walker if he's going to allow walks and home runs like he's normally done. Doesn't have a great ground ball rate, but Garcia doesn't really either. And Deivi Garcia for the Yankees, the rookie, he looked pretty good to start the season. Mm-hmm. High strikeout rate, low walk rate, hasn't allowed too many home runs. He's leaving a solid amount of runners on base so far. Ground ball rate is kind of low, but his ERA and FIP is around 3. Yeah, he's been pretty good. He went 7 innings pitched in his last start versus the Blue Jays. So for me, yeah, I think there's potential there for the Yankees to get the win here. Like you said, yeah, Yankees minus 155. It's a little bit high, but I think the Yankees get the job done. I think they definitely have an edge in this game, especially at home. So I wouldn't, kill you for taking Yankees minus 155, maybe over on their team total. And getting to Taijuan Walker might be the play, and a little bit less juice there. Either way, I think the Yankees get the job done in this one.
St. Louis and Milwaukee, Flaherty versus Anderson, the lefty on the mound. I've been a big proponent of Flaherty this year. He's been really good. Anderson's got a 440 Sierra number, so not all that bad, but I think obviously the better pitcher in this game is going to be Flaherty. Opened up at minus 134, and I guess the lines would agree, as you're now seeing 140s, mid-140s across the board. Over-under in this one opens up at 8.5, still sitting at 8.5 across the board. It's one of those where I just would like to isolate. I think Flaherty's going to give you 5 strong innings in this game, keep those Milwaukee bats down. I would lean on going with the first 5-inning run line for the St. Louis Cardinals, 3-1, 2-1, 1-0 at the end of 5. I can see that as being sensible. Give me the better pitcher here. Forget the bullpens in this game. Forget the over-under. I think they'll be up after 5 innings. That's the way I'm going to go here, Jason. What's a look between the St. Louis Cardinals and Milwaukee Brewers for you today?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Jack Flaherty has been really good this season. He's only had, I think, one game where he allowed, multiple runs. I think it was like 4 runs in one start, and then the rest he's been like really good. So Flaherty, he got a very high strikeout rate, and the Brewers, they strike out plenty. And then you go to Anderson, he has the high Sierra, low strikeout rate, does get plenty of ground balls. So that's one thing you run into with the chance of potential, double plays here and there. But, balls will be in play for the Cardinals. They should be able to get the job done and score a couple runs for Flaherty in this game. So I'm with you there. Cardinals in the first 5, Cardinals in the full game, Cardinals over on the team total. All those, I think, cash for the Cardinals. I think they get the job done on the road versus the Brewers in this one.
We'll speed through these last 5 before we get to best bets and bankers on the show. Texas, Houston, Cody versus Urquidy on the mound. 8 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Houston Astros. If we look at the line, it's pretty steep. Minus 190s, minus 195s across the board. Over under at 9. That sits across the board. Sitting in Houston, assuming that the dome is going to be closed, so not a ultra great hitting environment. Texas always leaves a lot to be desired for me. Houston, every time I seem to try to take them on a team total line, they get 1 or 2 runs. The next night, they'll get 5 or 6. Yeah. So no real feel in this game either on the side. I think it's too expensive, and also an over-under, meaning there's going to have to be 10 runs scored in this game for you to cash the ticket. I lean towards the under in this game. What are you looking for here? Anything between Texas and Houston, Jason?
Yeah, like you said, this game was expensive for the Astros, and that's why if I had a lean, I would say there's value on the Rangers at plus 170. We don't really have much of a read on either of these pitchers. They've each thrown just 10 innings pitched this season, so there's really not much data on these two guys, but I think there's some value on the Rangers at plus 170. Like you said, it's too high for the Astros, which means that the Rangers have value at plus 170. Not saying the right Rangers win. I'm just saying there's value there. I don't have much of a read on this game either.
Yeah, there's a couple more left here. Oakland, Colorado, the Dodgers, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, Arizona, and LA. So we'll get right through these. Oakland and Colorado, Manea versus Senzatella. Over-under opened up at 11, still sitting across the board. 11.5s, and still sitting at 11.5s across the board. Oakland, heavy road favorite here. Playing from the smoke up there in Seattle, now flying into Colorado. Hopefully get a little bit cleaner air in the high altitudes, and that's why, of course, you're going to see those 11.5s. A heavy favorite for Oakland this one. 160s on the road versus Senzatella. Seems a little pricey for me, specifically since they played a doubleheader the day before. Hard to back Colorado in the spot, but I would lean towards the big dog. And I could see some runs being scored in this game, but no real overall feel where, boy, I got to jump on this game. Any thoughts for you on this one, Jason?
Yeah, Sean Manea has been really good as of late. In his last 5 starts, he's allowed just 2 earned runs or less in every start. He just went 7 innings versus the Astros in his last start as well. Manea, he's really turned around from a shaky start to the season. He's looked really good now, but righties are still hitting 283 on the season. But, let's be real, that number was a lot higher before those last 5 games, so he's definitely, helped that number out. Recently in Senzatella, he's now allowed 12 earned runs in his last 4 starts. One really good start, but the rest were really not that good. Has a high Sierra, low strikeouts, solid ground ball rate, though. Has allowed 8 home runs in 9 starts this season. If I had a lean, I'd look at the Athletics here. They have a better pitcher, and under 11.5 in this one. Senzatella gets the ground balls. Manea gets the job done. I think under in this one, but of course the bullpens can definitely ruin it all. So be careful.
Yeah, especially in Coors. 925, 926, Dodgers and San Diego. When you look at the pitching matchup, it's not really that's what it's about in this game for me. Gonsolin versus Davies, 7 out of every 10 tickets here for the Dodgers. Open up as a light favorite, 130s, now backtracking the mid-125s. You're looking at these two lineups here. It looks like Justin Turner will be back for the game tonight. It's murderer's row for the Dodgers. Then you flip it over to the San Diego Padres, and it's all green lights as well in this game. Even though they're two decent pitchers on the mound, two good bullpens, it's an 8.5. I will take the talent of all 18 batters in this game and roll them out there for 9 innings and say, you know what, Jason, I'm leaning on the 9 just out of principle. Both of these teams can rake, and I expect them to do so tonight. Give me the over 8.5 here. Any thoughts on this game between the Padres and the Dodgers?
Yeah, it's a low number, like you said. Both these pitchers have done really well. Gonsolin's really been kind of a guy that nobody really expected coming in. Yeah. He's got a 1.57 ERA, 2.87 FIP. And then Davies, he's got 2.48 ERA and a 3.6 FIP. So, yeah, both these guys have been really good. Davies 7-2 in 9 starts. So, if I had a lean on this game, I'd look at the Padres to get the job done here. But like you said, all the offenses definitely have an edge against these pitchers, but these pitchers have really gotten the job done as well. So, it's hard for me to say over-under in this game. If you look at the pitching matchup, under. If you look at the hitting matchup, is over. The number is pretty low, so like you said, it's a tough one. I couldn't really give you guys a really good estimate on that game, but I think the Padres at home around, pick 'em here. I think Davies gets the job done for the Padres here and gets the win.
Yeah, simple as me. I look at both of those, even though, again, the pitching matchup really is what I'm trying to phase out, even though they're decent pitchers here. Each one of these teams, would you be surprised if they both got 4 runs? Absolutely not. And that's the way I'll just lean on that game, just as it makes sense to fit my eye. San Francisco and Seattle, Anderson versus Newsom. LJ Newsom, one of the better spellings of LJ that you're going to see out here. Minus 125s across the board as a favorite for the San Francisco Giants. 9s across the board as a total. With 2 bad, and I can't even say they're bad teams because they're supposed to be bad teams, but they're actually still fighting for playoff position with 2 weeks left in the season. 9 seems like a cheap number for both of these pitchers. I'll lean on the over 9, maybe a stretched out bullpen there for Seattle as well. I think both of these teams can hit each other. Even though you don't see those superstars in either one of the lineups, I think the Giants will be good for at least 4 runs in this game, and I think Seattle can chase them down. I lean towards the over 9 in this game, in the smoke, in the flames, in the fires up there in Seattle. What are you looking at here, Jason?
Yeah, now both these guys, they have FIPs above 4.5, so they really haven't been great. LJ Newsom only had 3 starts. We talked about him yesterday because we thought he was going to, play yesterday. So we don't have to get too much into Newsom, but he's been a solid pitcher. Hasn't walked a single batter yet in 8.1 innings pitched. So he's been good, but his metrics say that he should be allowing a couple runs here and there. The Giants definitely have the bats to do that. Tyler Anderson has been really inconsistent this season. Some really good games, some really bad games. I'd expect an average game out of Anderson, which means there'll be 3-4 runs in that off of Anderson, and then Newsom should allow a couple runs as well. So I agree with you. Bullpens allow a couple runs here as well. Over 9 seems like the play in this game for the Giants and Mariners.
Last game, 929, 930, with 330 people watching live in the chat box. Thank you. Bumgarner versus Tehran. And when you look at these two teams, right, I see the pitching matchup and light bulbs flash in my head. Like you see the fireworks go off. This is a game that you want to get into because Bumgarner is just a name at this point and really can be bashed around. Julio Tehran, after the last 2 years with the Braves, now coming over to the Angels, really hasn't done much of anything. And then I look at the two teams and say, well, is Arizona actually good enough at the plate to make a dent in Tehran? And the same can be said on the opposite side. The Angels should rake. They let me down so bad on Sunday doing one of their typical 3 for 15s with runners in scoring position, 20 guys left on base. It seems like that's what they do all year round. Both of these teams should hit. It opened up at 9.5 as a total. Now sits at 10.5. It should get to the 10.5, but again, I look at both of these teams and they've let me down so much. I have a guaranteed bias against them. But I tell you, the one thing I don't want to do is 140 to 150 on Julio Tehran. Maybe a slight lean on Arizona just because 2 bad pitchers and you get a plus number. They should hit in this game, but I won't be surprised at a 3-1 finish either.
Yeah, like you said, both of these guys are terrible pitchers, definitely beyond their prime when both these guys were ace pitchers for their respective teams back in the day. Not anymore. In my analysis, I put green and I put red on different pitchers that I like. Both these pitchers have red. So I don't even have a lean on a team to win this game. I'm just going over 10, over 10.5. Completely fine with me. These guys have FIPs. Bumgarner, 9.03. Taryn, a FIP of 6.58. Both are just getting absolutely smoked this season. But like you said, these offenses have been a little bit shaky as well. But I do think the offenses have enough to get the job done in this game. But again, I'm not touching this game, even though I should be. Let's put it that way.
No, I hear you. What do you got, 15, 16 games on the card, covered all in under 40 minutes? Your time is money. We like to get you the information, get you in, get you out, get you back on your way. Hopefully you have the rest of the day off, but maybe you don't. Maybe you got to get back to work after the lunch break. So we do thank you guys for joining us. But now it's time for Best Bets and Bankers. Last night was let down. You need opportunities in baseball, and sometimes that's all you can ask for. I got the opportunities last night with the White Sox. It just didn't cash in. Today, I'm not going to go with a team total. I'm going to go with a game total so I can root for both teams in this game. And sometimes, as we like to say, you got to lay down with some of these flea bag lineups to come up and get some of these dollars. 903, 904, Jason. I'm going over for the game between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds, sitting at 9s across the board. There's no reason for me to believe that both of these teams can't score 4 runs. Lorenzen probably will throw 50 to 60 pitches in this game, hand it over to the bullpen. Yep. Already went over Musgrove, a very good pitcher at home in a pitcher's ballpark in Pittsburgh. Once he gets outside of that environment, xFIP really rises up. I think those bats from Cincinnati can catch up tonight. I'm going over 9 as my best bet of the day with the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds. Jason, take it away. Best bets and bankers.
Yeah, so we're going to go with the Royals over 4, team total at -106. The number, like Donnie said, could potentially change. But if you lock it in at around 4, 4.5, completely fine. I think the Royals get the job done versus Matthew Boyd and the Tigers. So that's in one of my official plays, and that actually also is the banker. I did write out that article. I did have an article on that game at SBR. Also, you're looking at the Braves versus Orioles game over 10 at -110 with Oscar Noah and Tom Eshelman on the mound. Both these guys have really high FIPs, and the Braves offense has been really hot. Orioles is getting hot with their bats, so over 10 in that game, another official play. And the last official play is just a play that I just couldn't look past with the Cubs at -0.5 in the first 5 at +100. Darvish on the mound at +100 and -0.5 with Carrasco. Did struggle versus the Cubs earlier in the season, allowed 3 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched. Anytime you get -0.5 in the first 5 against the Indians, it's a no-brainer. But with Darvish on the mound versus the Indians, I had to take this. So another official play for me, the Cubs -0.5 in the first 5 at +100. Those are my official plays. Again, the banker is the Royals over and the team total. 3 official plays for you guys.
I like it. Sets up well today. It's a nice baseball card after sort of a tough one to try to sort through yesterday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, hump day. Looks like another great day. Also some afternoon baseball as well. We want to thank you guys for sticking with us right here at sportsbookreview.com on the Major League Baseball show. It's been a lot of fun. 67,700 people. At least another 2 weeks left in the show for the regular season. We'll be here Monday through Friday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Hit that notification button, because when you hit that notification button to your email box, to your notifications, whatever, you can come in and say hello in the chat box, just like over 300 people are currently doing now. A lot of fun. We'll let these games play out. But as I said, we will be back tomorrow on Wednesday for another edition of the Major League Baseball show. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're sportsbookreview.com. And this is your Major League Baseball show. Good luck, guys.